Hello and welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to be talking about setting intentions for the new year, as New Year is tomorrow. So firstly, just to quickly introduce myself, my name is Una. I'm a life coach and nutritional therapist, and I help high achievers by teaching them sustainable solutions for stress and anxiety so that they can achieve their wonderful dreams without compromising their physical and emotional health. And on this channel, I talk about everything to do with stress and anxiety management, as well as how to lead a happy and fulfilling life and everything in between. So without further ado, let's get stuck into it. So first things first, why intentions and not goals? So I actually recently had a chat with this lovely person who mentioned to me that the term goals can actually be really triggering for some people because it has a connotation of pressure, of targets, and it can also potentially remind them of a time when maybe they were using goals as a way to harm themselves or self-sabotage themselves. So I actually really took this on board and I thought, wow, actually using the term intentions would be a lot better, wouldn't it? Because also the thing with intentions is it doesn't imply that there's an end or a target or something that we have to hit. It's actually something that we can really do. And also it talks about things that we can feel, right? Because I feel like often when it comes to New Year, as it is tomorrow, comes to New Year, we have this new excitement of it's New Year, it's new me, I'm going to change everything about my life. This year is going to be different. And then we start, and then maybe after a couple of weeks, it all kind of falls apart. And then we feel like, oh, yet again, I failed. I suck, right? So I kind of wanted to help you really set some real intentions, things that are actually practically doable so that you actually have accomplished the things that you want to accomplish, and more importantly, and really most importantly, you feel how you want to feel. So that's what we'll be covering in today's video. Starting with intentions for the year. So the first thing is to actually visualize the year ahead. So actually I love, and this is another tip that my amazing life coach Alice Dartnell gave me, is actually looking at your calendar versus just thinking about, oh, I want to do this thing or that thing, but actually looking at your calendar, the months in the year, and then thinking about what would you like to experience during those months? What are the things that you'd like to achieve? And making it really, really tangible. So saying, okay, maybe you already know that in May it is your, I don't know, your stepson's communion and that you have to go to that. Or maybe you know that there are certain things that have to happen during the year that are already in the calendar that you can't work around. So a lot of people, for example, just say, okay, I'm going to, lose this amount of weight if you're looking at weight loss, or I'm going to change my body, look a certain way, or I want to achieve this much income if you're self-employed, or maybe I want to save this much money, or I want to invest this amount of money, or I just want to change my health, I want to do all these things. But they don't actually think about the practical side of how am I going to practically implement these changes into my life. Right? And that actually is the most important thing, because there's no point setting intentions or setting targets for ourselves if we don't actually look at how are we going to fulfill those targets? How are we going to meet them, right? What are the KPIs for actually this role that we've given ourselves? So today I'm going to help you look at how you can do that. So first things first is I want you to actually think about what makes you truly happy. And you can close your eyes if you want to. What is it that makes you truly happy? What makes your heart sing? How does it feel to be happy? What elements surround me when I'm happy? And you can take some time if you want to pause the video for yourself and to think about these things. What makes me happy? What elements are present when I'm happy? What surrounds that? So take some time to think about that. But essentially, what we're going to look at now is actually, how can I plan my year based on happiness? So when I ask my clients, what do you truly want? Or when I ask anyone, even if I ask myself, what do I really want to get out of life? It's generally that people want to be happy and they don't want to suffer too much, right? They want to enjoy their lives. And all of the things we do are generally because we want to be happy or we want to make other people happy, like our children or our family or loved ones, right? People who are close to us. So why not look at, okay, how can I actually make sure that my life aligns with that? So there's two things here. And these are kind of big, I guess, big topics, but thinking about what is my purpose and what are my values, right? So what is a purpose? So a purpose isn't just what am I going to do with my life, like my job, or, I don't know, being a parent, or, being an academic, or, being financially successful. A purpose is how you feel. It's a feeling that you have within yourself that you know that you are being present and you are doing that in a way that you want to be, right? And then you're moving towards that which you feel is what you want, right? And that could be a tangible thing, or it could be a feeling like happiness, being present, maybe achieving a state of inner peace and contentment, right? That could be your purpose, as well as maybe your purpose is your job. And that's wonderful too. I know for me, working with my clients, it really gives me fulfillment, right? And I know that. So that's something that's really part of my purpose, I feel, here on this planet, right? So thinking about what is my purpose? And if you have absolutely like, oh, I've just got no clue what my purpose is, I have just no idea what I'm doing, and that the word purpose even stresses you out, maybe that is what you want to do over the next 12 months, is figure out what the heck is my purpose, right? How do I figure that out? And then the next thing is values. Now, what are values? Values are things that you deem important to you. They're things that are something that you think are worth your time and worth your effort. So for example, a lot of people value money, right? You have a piece of money, and even though it's just a piece of paper, inherently in and of itself, it doesn't have a value, right? But we have placed a value on it. So if it's a €10 or £10, $10, wherever you're from, right? Note, we have a value on it. Whereas if it's $100 or euro or pound note, we have another value on it. So values are actually subjective, right? There is something that we impose on a thing. Some people value money, some people value experiences, some people value love, some people value certain pleasures in life. I definitely value money, and I more value though relationships. That's something that's one of my biggest values in my whole life, is relationships that I have with myself, with other people, with my clients. That is really where I know something that I want to cultivate and is worth spending time on, right? Maybe something that you really value is your energy. So I know for myself, this past year, I really struggled with my physical health. And as a result, my energy was completely gone. And it wasn't until it was completely gone that I realized I really value that, right? So the next thing would be to figure out, what are the things that I value? And then once you've identified your purpose and your values, then look at, okay, how do I want to honor that purpose and honor those values in the next 12 months? So that's how I would recommend actually looking at the tangible things that you want to do. So once you have those things set for yourself, so maybe you've paused the video a little bit here to think about, what are those values? What are those tangible things? Or, those intangible things that I want to experience or accomplish or go through over the next 12 months. Then we'll look at, okay, how can we practically do that? So what I would recommend you do here is actually look at the tasks themselves. So say, for example, I was just talking to someone today who's doing a master's, right? Say, for example, you have a master's and now you need to write your dissertation, right? And your dissertation is, say, 25,000 words, and you want to complete those 25,000 words by the due date, say it's April, right? So thinking about that assignment, okay, so it's not just I need to write those 25,000 words, you probably need to submit the first draft to your supervisor, who then reviews it and tells you whether or not it's on topic, right? Then once you have that done, you might want to write a second draft. Then you might want to send that to an editor or someone who looks to check for spelling and grammar mistakes, who checks whether or not it makes sense, whether or not it resonates. Then you might want to edit it a few more times. So typically, I mean, if you're writing a thesis, you might edit it 3 to 4 times. I know for me, I edited it so many times because of, well, also my dyslexia, but also I sometimes struggle to write things in an essential way. So I have to really cut down on the words. So all of that, factor all of that in. How many words do I want to write per day? In order for me to accomplish this, where do I need to create space for this and energy for this in my day, right? So I would do that for all of the things you want to accomplish and physically think about the practical things that need to happen and then literally plan that into your calendar, right? And especially for the big goals, like maybe, for example, I know for me, I'm planning a trip where I might go surfing in May somewhere. And if you know a bit about me, you know that I'm not good at surfing. I've only just started doing it, but it's something that I really value. I always wanted to be able to surf, but I always thought, you know, I'm not going to ever be good about this. So finally I thought, you know, beep it, I'm going to go off and do it. And so a big part of that is maintaining my core, working on my core. So something that I've done is I've made sure that I'm investing time and money into workouts and working with a personal trainer so that I can do that, as well as I know that I actually have some sustained injuries. In my youth, I used to do sports competitively. I have an injury to my shoulder. So I need to honor that as well and make sure that I'm taking care of my body, right? So I broke that down to how many times do I want to move? How many times do I want to incorporate this movement into my day? How am I going to do that practically? So, you know, who are the trainers I'm going to work with, as well as factoring in things that might go wrong. So I'm currently based in Ireland, so I'm not sure where all of you are based, but in Ireland, we constantly come in and out of lockdown, in and out of having more and more restrictions. So thinking about those things, like what might prevent this from happening, practically speaking, like if there's another lockdown, that might stop me from going physically to the gym to see my personal trainer. So I've decided to also sign up for online training with someone. So that also really helps to make sure that the plans are practical, right? So that's the next thing. And once you've had that planned in, I would recommend throughout the year, because setting intentions for the year, it isn't enough to just think, hey, on New Year's Eve, these are the things that I want to do, or this is what I want to feel, or what I want to accomplish. Also, throughout the year, you have to action that plan. And this kind of brings me to my next point with intention setting, right? Which is a lot of the time we think about just the intention is just the target that we want to hit, versus actually where is the accomplishment? The accomplishment isn't just in the target, it's in the journey, because you have to take action every day towards that intention, towards that aspiration that you want to fulfill. So with that in mind, if you're setting an intention, you're committing to actually working towards that intention throughout the year. So I would recommend on a monthly basis, maybe even on a quarterly basis, as well as on a weekly basis, sitting down with yourself, asking yourself, does this intention still resonate with my values and my purpose? If it's changed, that's completely fine too. You might want to change what you're doing. But if it hasn't, and if it has, then how am I honoring that on a daily basis? What am I doing to fulfill this value or this purpose on a daily basis, right? And finally, the final thing I wanted to talk about today is maybe you set these intentions, you have great aspirations, and then, you know, something hits the fan and it doesn't work out for whatever reason, right? Then rather than telling yourself, oh, I'm crap, I failed, I just failed my aspirations, remember that doing something every day isn't the target, right? It's doing it more than you did before. So say, for example, I think there are 365 days in the year. That's right, otherwise I'm going to sound very silly, but I think it's 365 days in the year, right? So say you only fulfill that intention of doing, I don't know, daily meditation 150 days. that's still 150 days. That is fantastic, right? So try and make your intention so that it's actually realistic in the sense that you know, okay, there is a buffer. So for example, if you want to meditate, you say, oh, I want to meditate more. Maybe you set an intention to meditate, 5 times a week. And then maybe some weeks you meditate 4 times a week, some weeks you meditate 7 times. And then it actually works out at a lot more, and it's a lot easier to hit that target. So make sure that you allow a buffer in there. And yeah, just make sure you're not too hard on yourself. And I'm actually going to talk a little bit more in another video about how to break free from your own expectations, because often we have these expectations, especially as high achievers, oh, I need to hit this target, I need to do this, if I don't get an A star in whatever thing we've set for, a metaphorical A star in whatever we've set for ourselves, then we're just failing, right? So I will be talking about that in another video. I hope you found this video beneficial. If you have any questions, do feel free to pop them in the comment box below. I'm more than happy to support you in any way I can. And if you did enjoy this video, please consider liking and subscribing so that I know that it's valuable and also it helps the algorithm, right? I hope you have a lovely week. Happy New Year, and I will see you next Friday.